So our session is going to be on density, whether Bangalore can sustain as a next frontier tech density city, okay, uh, and retain its edge, okay. So that is broadly the theme of this discussion. So Bangalore, for all the right reasons, is the AI hub, the GCC hub, right? Tech capital, so everything is there, right? AI factory, people now call it as AI factory also. So with all the good names to Bangalore, there is also another thing, is that recently I will tell you, I had to bring a colleague of mine who has come from Sydney, from airport, and from airport to office, he could also finish two appraisal discussions, performance appraisal discussions, right? Thanks to the traffic, okay? So all the good and not so good things are there, right? So with this, we want to talk about the tech density actually that Bangalore has. So my first question is to architect Gunjan, okay? So what are the key architectural features that make a city like Bangalore suitable for a tech density city?
So I think Bangalore becoming a high density tech city is inevitable.
Okay.
We cannot fight that. So the best way forward would be to plan the density in the right way, in a more designed way, rather than having it very chaotic the way most of it what we've been seeing today. So I think high density, because we can go taller with our buildings and architecture. We can have larger floor plates. Bangalore's radial expansion is quite good. Then having mixed use development, so that you have your entertainment, you have your infrastructure and other things accessible while at work, so that you don't have to travel so much, because I think the biggest bottleneck in our city is the traffic.
Right.
We just go on complaining about it. And then, of course, having green projects, so that even though we are building high density, we are building, that much more square footage. If it's all green and sustainable and, good for the environment, that will go a long way in making it a high density tech city, but responsible too.
So Mr. Jairam, you are a CRE leader, okay, and you have worked with a lot of MNCs and Indian companies. So in your opinion, okay, so why do MNCs are interested in high density spaces in the city?
See, today if you look at Bangalore as a geography, unlike the 90s and 2000s, gone are those days where people used to go to Whitefield or to Electronic City. Today there are 7 hubs in Bangalore. Apart from Electronic City and Whitefield, you have Outer Ring Road, which is one of the, I can say, thickly populated IT corridor in entire Southeast Asia. This is around 32 kilometers, and we have almost 4,000 companies, IT companies established in this particular stretch. Why is that companies would like to work in a IT park is basically to ensure that there is an uninterrupted service, uninterrupted kind of a support to them for their operations. It can be a power, or it can be a kind of a food court, or it can be even a shared commute. If you look at RMZ EcoWorld, itself has around 65 IT companies. And way back when we started the employee commute in 2000 with Volvo, we always believed shifting people in a bigger vehicles. But as you grew up, as Bangalore went up, and the today population is almost, if I'm not wrong, 1.6 crore. And the entire corridor of this Outer Ring Road itself has 8 lakh vehicles. So one is you have a state-of-the-art facilities in IT park. Second, it becomes easy for you to share the kind of services. Third, also it becomes very easy for employees to engage in a way where they like their own interest. And the last one is basically is to ensure that these IT parks have a thumb role of creating the workplaces. I think Gunjan is an architect, she knows. Because today when I meet any of the Gen Zs who come for the interview, they normally ask you 3 questions. Sir, do you have a cafeteria? Sir, do you have an AC, air-conditioned TTs? Air-conditioning cars are tempo travelers? And how many days I can work from home? These are the 3 questions they ask. Imagine if you hire this kind of people who do not want to engage with the organization, what can you expect from them in terms of their contribution to organization? There is so much to say, there is so much to discuss, there is so much of hidden and unhidden truths, which I don't want to speak out here, but I could say the concept of staying in an IT park is now slowly moving out. If you look at SAP has their own facility now in SEZ. Boeing has a separate facility in SEZ. When I was working for Volvo 25 years back, we had a separate campus, because having a separate campus also gives you a flexibility to do whatever you want to do in terms of your own specifications. That is moving, that was there, but I think slowly it is moving.
Mr. Jairam made a very valid point that IT occupiers are now balancing or rebalancing their portfolios between a leased office space, okay, in a IT park versus a built-to-suit or a owned office space outside elsewhere also, depending on the nature of the work, depending on the client servicing mandates, etc., etc. All right. So my next question or my next views I would like to have from Mr. Satya. So is high density office space development, okay, feasible in Bangalore, and how IT occupiers, or for that matter any occupier, any big occupier, responding to it?
See, if you look at pure brick and mortar, densifying offices is the easiest thing. We have all technologies that are available to do that. But I think the true essence is it's not about just densifying those office spaces, but it's about giving an experience of living, moving around, and ensuring the quality of life of the end employee who's walking into those high density office spaces is intact. And that's where it's most important. I think, again, Jairam sir beautifully touched upon few of the micro markets. Every micro market has a different kind of demand, right? When you look at it CBD, it's about density that gets built because of the expanse that they want to grow and the larger organizations wanting to have their headquarters. If you look at ORR that he spoke in stretch, that is more to do with volume, scale, and collaboration. The number of IT companies that were there and your own peers and competitors are right there in the campus, and that paves a lot of way to collaborate. To what extent it happens is a different question. And if you look at Whitefield, the other micro market that's expanding, it's a quiet balance between both the urban density and the people wanting to have some freedom of movement around that. There is predictability in terms of last mile travel, and that is why those kind of micro markets improve. So definitely, feasibility of densifying office spaces is definitely there. It's not a question of engineering anymore. It's a question of experience that you want to give to the end users who are using those office spaces. That's my humble opinion on that.
No, absolutely rightly said, because if you see Whitefield as a micro market, it has got large office campuses, and also it has got a residential base as well for mid-income groups, for high-income groups, and even for bachelors also to stay in that micro market. And also there are enough F&B options, enough hospitality options, enough entertainment options in terms of high streets and malls, which are also essential part to sustain and position tech development in any of the micro markets. So with that, my next question is to Mr. Kannan, because he comes from a technology background. So we would like to know that what kind of technology enablers are required to support or take city?
See, there are three technology layers that is required for a successful build of a high technology, high density tech city. The first and foremost is digital enablement. Okay, when I say digital enablement, it means that your city should have high density fiber connectivity, 5G connection should be there, and then a lot of internet exchange points, right? Now taking Bangalore as an example, we are there. It has a lot of IXPs connected to the data center, enabling a very reliable connection with very low latency. That is the first thing. Second thing is, which is also important with increase in density, is the coverage, or in other words, we should have very connected systems, okay, connected energy systems. For example, the integrated connected and control and connection center for energy that is there, the Bangalore is embracing, which connects all the sectors, whether it is BESCOM, BMTC, power and all. So it all integrates that into one platform, and it enables you make a data-driven decision. And third thing is scalable utility. When there is scaling in density, then also the utilities have to scale up. The power has to scale up. The water and waste management has to scale up. So that is another important thing. And third and fourth and the last one is the mobility technology, right? It has to move from a normal commute to a more mass transit commute. So these are the things that is required for a tech enabling a high density tech city.
Thanks, Mr. Kannan. So all of us basically spoke or gave our views in support of Bangalore being a high density tech city, right? So Bangalore has to continue to become a high density tech city, okay, because there are no other choice. It has to grow, okay. So now, Architect Gunjan, so I want to know your views that there are challenges, okay. And if you ask anybody in Bangalore, they will at least put 3 or 4 challenges, okay, from a layman's point of view. But from an architect's lens, what are the challenges that the city is facing now, which are kind of a negative factor for a high density tech city like Bangalore?
Actually, if you really think about it, other than I would think two come to my mind immediately. One is, of course, traffic. But countering the traffic, the public transportation is improving. The metro is, getting better, and more lines are getting, added. Once that is complete, that to some extent will support the density that we are talking about. Other than that, I think somewhere also as the mindset of Bangalore, in our minds, I think all Bangaloreans, we are still a village. We have to get out of that mindset and think
there are a lot of villages right now also.
Yes, but we are projecting ourselves as one of the most forward cities in the country. But we don't have the mindset of a metro, which you see in Bombay, or you go to even Chennai, you go to Delhi, there is a different buzz. Somehow Bangalore, I feel, has, which is maybe a good thing because we are kind of protecting ourselves. But like we said, it's inevitable. So we have to change our mindset.
So what is that mindset exactly?
That we are not a village anymore.
Okay.
Culturally, we have to change and accept and move along with that. And since we, most of the high tech that we are talking about is also all the people who are from outside of Bangalore. So they come with a different mindset. They are bringing something else to our city. So we've become a very cosmopolitan, metropolitan city in that sense. But we are still not a metro. So I think somewhere there culturally that has to change. And if we can take care of our traffic woes in the next few years going forward, and actually plan ahead and not plan ahead larger to take care of the extra growth and not just what we have right now. The rest of the things are all in our favor. Because we have the funds, we have the technology, like he said, we have the human resources, We are the Silicon Valley of India. So if these 2-3 things we can handle, I think we can become a very, good, beautiful, enjoyable high-tech city.
Absolutely, yes. Because definitely, the metros have definitely eased the congestion wherever it has expanded. Because right now, the Bomsandra route, definitely, there is a lot of news that it is always crowded now. A lot of people are, actually boarding that metro line from RV Road to Bomsandra. So definitely, it has decongested the road. I would believe so. Correct, because the metros are congested, so the road would be relatively freer. Okay, so I'm sure the traffic to airport and other corridors also will definitely get a boost once the metro connects those those hubs also. Okay,
So I think,
so yes,
just to add one more thing, the buildings that we design will have to themselves bridge or fill the gap that the infrastructure is giving us. The infrastructure gaps will have to be bridged by the buildings that we will be building for this. So that is where I think architects can contribute to somewhere balancing that deficit out.
how that will happen? If you can just throw some light, because building is where the people are coming to work.
Yeah,
So
so I think this whole mixed use, having your work, sleep, stay, the schools close by, all your facilities within a certain area. So that would reduce that dependency on going out to the roads and getting into the traffic. And we will have to think further, of course, and try to plan it in such a way that to some extent we can fill that gap.
thank you. So, Mr. Jairam, you manage a big campus, okay? And so, if you could throw some light that what are the everyday challenges that you often see of managing a big campus like Wipro that you are currently doing?
I think if you look at Wipro as an organization, globally we are almost 260,000 employees. We have presence in India, Europe, America, Singapore, and many more parts of the globe. And if I have to tell you the kind of challenges we face in managing our own campus is not much compared to a shared campus. I'll tell you why. Because Wipro follows an amazing compliance and legal protocol wherein we normally follow the guidelines of NBC. If you go to most of this shared offices, if you look at Bangalore as a city, I will come to the campus. If you look at most of the residential buildings as well as commercial buildings, 70% of these buildings do not follow any kind of a legal protocol. Commercial buildings, they say, and as per NBC, you need to have 100 to 120 square feet per employee. It doesn't happen. Go to any of the co-working campus, per person you get only 60 to 70 square feet. And during fire, what happens? God alone knows. And I have been to some of the offices in Electronic City and also in Whitefield. Trust me, in 10,000 square feet, they accommodate 200 employees. And these employees have no other option but to say yes to work because their employment depends on that. But in a campus like us, we follow all these compliances. Second is also the quality of work, the quality of air, the quality of engagement, and also the kind of treatment you get in an independent campus. When I say treatment, basically you can walk around. If you look at our Kodati campus, it is 55 acres. I travel to Kodati campus in the morning. I leave my house at 8:30. I reach at 10:30. Can you imagine? 2 hours I'm in the car. The moment I go, I have a meeting with my team. Then I change my shoes, put on my other shoes to take a round. The air is so good. We have lakes, we have bridges, we have a lot of trees. That is one advantage what you get in your campus. And also, in a campus like us, you don't get to have too many people in the food court. I think if you go to Bagmane Tech Park, or if you go to Embassy Tech Village, or if you go to Prestige Tech Park in Bangalore, you will have to stand in the queue for at least 15-20 minutes to pick up your meal, which is not the case in an independent campus. Ask me why. You have an app on your mobile. While you're traveling from your workstation to the campus, you can book your meal. by the time you reach your table, you will have the meal ready. That's the advantage of the. I think I have my colleague Vivek. I think he's a fraternity friend. He'll agree with that. The third thing is, the last thing which I want to tell you is that the quality of discussions what you will have with your own colleagues will be more knowledgeable and productive. Because when you're in a shared campus, you tend to meet a lot of random people. Meeting random people is also very good. I'll ask you why. I'll tell you why. You get to know a lot of things which you are not aware of it. Imagine, I also have a fraternity friend sitting here, and whenever we meet random people, you tend to get more knowledge than when you meet people who you know for a longer duration, because sometimes they don't tend to share the knowledge. I think we always say knowledge is there to share more than keeping it to themselves. But in our case, what happens is that instead of having a team meeting in your cabin, you can come out. Like in Wipro, we have small gazebos outside where you could still have a internet connection, but you can sit out open to the air and imagine the kind of discussion and the quality of discussion you have. There are a lot of advantages. I can keep on telling about this, but at the same time, having an office in a shared campus is also an advantage, because you get to have a lot of people meeting you, and also you will have a lot of world-class brands, world-class food courts. It is not limited. In your own campus, everything is limited when it comes to these things, but in shared campus, you tend to have a lot of varieties, a lot of people, and a lot of cross-cultured people talking to you. I mean, that's how it is.
Thanks, absolutely right, because I see a lot of cross communication happening between colleagues from different companies inside a tech park. And of course, I'm sure there must be a lot of hiring also that goes on inside a tech campus by a new company which comes because of the same reason, because it can attract a talent
If
pool.
you don't have a gym, if you don't have a health club, if you don't have a world-class cafeteria, your attrition is going to go up. Trust me. Right. Nobody will stay with the organization. Gone are those days, the loyalty, commitment, dedication, all that is gone. I was telling you, right, people who have joined Wipro in 80s and 90s are there for 20 years, 25 years. But people who join after COVID, I think their lifetime is not more than 3 years.
Correct, absolutely. So as a corporate real estate manager or a facilities manager, a company is doing every bit of it to make the occupants feel safe, feel empowered, okay, and provide best of the art technologies for them to produce their output, okay. So there are a lot of amenities, like in some IT parks, few of the developers are providing pure oxygen. Somebody said that we provide pure oxygen inside the tech park, okay, because of which we will charge higher rental probably, and the productivity also go up, okay. So to that extent, if developers and facilities are being created, but the pathetic situation is that once you come out of the tech park, you are struggling to reach the road because of the traffic built up, and the same thing happens in the morning also. You struggle to come inside the tech park, okay, and during rains and during flooding situations, the situation becomes worse. So why tech parks are built as per the standard and everything, grade A facilities created. So once you come out of the grade A IT park, the situation is not there. So basically the governance and the developers, so everybody has to work in tandem to make it very seamless experience. From my home to the IT park or wherever I work, it should be a pleasurable experience. So with that, Satya, you also have to share your experience of the same thing, that what are the challenges that you have encountered from your clients who says that these are the challenges of operating a grade A facility or a tech or a high density workspace. So what are the challenges that you have experienced?
Can't agree more with you, sir. Before I dive into what other challenges I could tell, I think I could take a leaf from what you were starting, the experience of the moment you exit your building and how it is outside, or the last mile connectivity. I think architect Gunjan very beautifully touched upon that. Architecture is no more about just the buildings. It's about design of the entire space and their transition, entry and exit, and infrastructure. As architects grow into policymakers and governance, once we have that vision of having that experience seamless from start to end, I think you can definitely go on and do great things. Coming back to challenges, Of course, Jairam sir beautifully pointed out, how good campuses are. He romanticized campuses so much. Now I want to go back and work in a campus. And sir, open space and free air. That's something we are all longing for in Bangalore, amidst concrete jungle. But I want to touch upon something which kind of brings a balance. While we all are envisioning something which is the ideal scenario of pure transit and everything, the quickest example is predictability in traffic or the last mile connectivity, right? When we tried reaching this particular facility, how many of us can actually use public transport to reach here? The last mile connectivity is literally nothing from that Tumkur highway. If you don't have your own vehicle, it's literally impossible to reach this exhibition hall. So that is where the focus needs to go. And as a byproduct of that is how your employees can be accommodated in terms of the kind of experience that they have. May it be a large campus, may it could be a mixed use development or whatnot, is being adaptive to the next generation. Sir also spoke about loyalty. I think it has changed with generation, sir. The next generation, which is Gen Z, looks at loyalty very differently. They don't ask what the company gives us. It's about, what we give to the company, but they ask more about, what can you give me in return? That's the perspective. I think what's here to stay is hybrid workspace or hybrid working model and a hub and spoke model. It's not resistance against going to traditional offices as people would think. It's about adapting to what is prevalent and what is possible in present day scenario. Hybrid is when you want to focus and work, you sit at your own home, at your comfort and still work. And then you come back to these large campuses to collaborate. End of the day, we are all social animals. We want to come back. That is one. But, you can't always make it to the highly dense campus area, probably to an ORR where all your headquarters is there. And that's where the hub and spoke model beautifully works. Having a smaller satellite office next to the residential catchments so that, you still get the feel of office, your quick coffee on the corner, but, you're much more in the comfort of your residential space. You don't have to spend probably 2 hours traveling from your place of residence to the dense collaborative offices that we need to head to. So that's the kind of value creation we should be looking at if we are truly looking at densifying the city to make it a high-tech city of India.
So, Mr. Kannan, your views that can the Bangalore's tech infra setup scale up to sustain the kind of growth that we are likely to see or that we are currently seeing now? And with that, you have to share your views that what is the plan A for this, and let's say if the plan A fails, so what is the backup plan for this?
See, here one thing is very important, right? You cannot look at just one thing, right? For example, all the three things, right? I said digital, I talked about scaling utilities, and the third thing is mobility. All have to happen at the same time, okay, simultaneously. You cannot ignore one. You cannot ignore invisible infrastructure with the visible infrastructure. So digitally, I would say we are there. But then one of the challenges, of course, with the water, we are heavily reliant on one source, but we don't often think about how do we conserve the water, how do we reuse the water, right? How do we monitor the leakage, right? How do we monitor the leakage in power also? So that has to be, it's very important and should be in the forefront. And then mobility, we all are talking about, of course, now there is an approval to start the next phase project, metro, covering roughly about 45 kilometers, 30 stations, taking the total connectivity to 220 odd kilometers. But we're talking about last mile connectivity, right? That is one of the main challenge. But then there is this approval that is going on TOD, transit-oriented development, where people are talking about setting up some infras in the vicinity of the station. So that could reduce a little bit of congestion. But again, there are its own challenges. It comes with its own challenges. So again, that transit-oriented development is part of Plan B. And we have to carefully consider that and build it. And then when it comes to the mobility, sorry, the digital enhancements, I think we have sufficient IXPs covering the data center, so the things are reliable and with low latency. So I don't see a problem there.
And in the morning session today, Mr. Architect Dinesh Verma also pointed out that in terms of public infra, how you conserve the water, how we conserve the electricity, how we conserve the air, that is also equally very important, because if Bangalore has to sustain or the technology has to grow, the tech city has to grow, so definitely the groundwater, the water quality and the air has to be pure, right? So for all of us to first breathe, live and then do coding, right?
See, even on power conservation, right? I mean, the mindset has to change. There are ways in every appliances that you make use of, whether it is fan, light, AC, and I come from elevator. Even in elevator, right? How do you use the energy of a falling or of an elevator coming down? Right? It comes down on gravity, right? You don't need power when an elevator comes down. So can you conserve? Can you use that power? Right? Can you go for regenerative drives that can conserve energy and use it for taking people up? Right? So that could help reduce the peak demand for an elevator, because elevator is it consumes a lot of power. So those kind of thought process have to come. The government have to incentivize corporates, large establishments, commercial establishments to embrace regenerative drives that saves electricity or anything for that matter.
And so my next question is basically an open question to all of us, that do you think the Bangalore should grow in all the four directions? Because right now what is happening is that, okay, outer ring road is already there, Whitefield is already there, Manyata Tech Park is already there, okay, your on the western part, your Rajaji Nagar, Yashwantpur is already there, but the IT growth or the tech growth is kind of disproportionate, right? So what is your opinion, if any of you can share your thoughts, that what needs to be done to mobilize growth in all the four quadrants or on different vectors of the city, in terms of planning, transportation, providing housing, okay, providing incentives for companies to go there, because ultimately what is happening is that it's a real estate game. Companies are trying to figure out where the rental benefit is there for my growth, I will go there. Correct. And in fact, the same thing matters with the tier 2 cities, right? Why the companies are not going to Mysore or Mangalore or for that matter any other place is because they have an incentive to grow in Bangalore. And so does the tech force or the talent force. And they also have a personal motive and professional motive also to be in Bangalore. So if this is an unplanned question, but if you can throw any lights and any of your thoughts that how we can decongest Bangalore by incentivizing growth in other pockets of the city.
I think I'll make it very crisp. The government has to bring in a kind of a very, very foolproof governance model to ensure that the structurization of this IT park should happen. What I meant to say is that as an organization, even if we need to come to Bangalore, we need to also understand a lot of things. Where I'm getting into is this is the place where I should be working for the next 15 years. Why is today SAP is moving out of Whitefield to North Bangalore? It is basically to bring that kind of a sanity into their structure, sanity into their governance, and also to give their employees a kind of a quality workplace environment. Second thing is that the approvals for both commercial buildings and also for residential. Today, the challenge with Bangalore is when you go into a street or when you go into a pocket of a region, you get to find a lot of non-structured buildings, both residential and commercial. Government should stop looking at it, and they should ensure that even before people start excavating, they should make sure that these things should not happen. Third thing is very important for all of us, self-discipline. What I meant by self-discipline is that government will never get awareness. The awareness should be from the bottoms up, not from the top-down awareness. We are all sitting here, 5 of us are sitting here, we all work for different organizations, and we should become brand ambassadors to ensure how we can clean up this entire mess. We will not be able to do it in next 100 years unless and otherwise 5 of us, 50 of us, 500 of us, another 50,000 of us start this activity from our own home and start creating a kind of an awareness, which is a very disciplinary awareness, telling people, like I go to Cornet, I go to RICS, I see a lot of my friends. We should bring that kind of an awareness, and it should reach the people in the top level of the organization, that apart from certifying all the compliances with respect to their legal framework, they should also look at a very foolproof compliance approval on the place or a campus or a region where they are going to operate from.
Sure. Thank you. Quite interesting. So we discussed about the fact that Bangalore has to definitely retain its spot as a high density tech city because it is inevitable. That is point number one. Point number two is that we discussed about the challenges the city is going through, and the last and the third thing is that looking into the future, right? So what we need to do, because if you understand globally, a lot of new locations, new cities, new countries are also emerging as a high density tech city. For example, let's say Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is also emerging as a AI capital of the world, and it has got a high density tech space, right? And similarly, Bangalore is also growing. So my next question to Architect Gunjan, that looking into the future, what sort of changes do you anticipate that needs to be made, okay, so as to sustain Bangalore or give Bangalore that push so that it can retain its spot as a high density tech city?
I think the first change or development will have to be in the policy planning, because our whatever density growth that we have seen in the last so many years has been very chaotic, very accidental. It needs to be more planned. And so density is not necessarily a bad term, but if we want it to be treated as a good term, we have to do a good job of it. So I think that onus lies a lot on the government and participation of architects and urban designers and technology, and that's going to be a huge contributory factor to make sure that we have a good high-tech city. Apart from that, we also want to we will need higher FSIs, FARs. We will need better urban planning and designing done over there. That would be one part of it. Then we'll also have to incentivize vertical mixed use.
Nice, okay.
So that would be an interesting format to again reduce the dependency on traffic and transport and all that stuff. And he talked about TOD. That's another thing we'll have to focus on. Mixed land use we spoke about. I think these would be the main things that we will have to work on.
Interesting point, Architect Gunjan. So my next question is to Mr. Jairam.
Sustainability was one more.
Yeah, sustainability.
Everything which I mentioned earlier.
Yes. So Mr. Jairam, your views that high density development, we will finish it up in the next 10 minutes, 5 minutes. So high density tech city or high density facility, is it a good good investment potential? Is it a good investment, good investment choice?
I think before he answers, I think as we speak now, it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Investing in a high density region does not make sense, because eventually you get to have all the challenges which you will face cannot be solved. So you need to move to STRR now. STRR is another region, move towards that. And I tell you, the advantage of STRR, already government has given approval for 4 international universities to install in STRR. There is a Queen City going to come, move towards Kanakpura side, move towards Banerghatta side, decongest the CBD so that people will move into the new pockets. It is easy for you to also move around. The high density places going forward will be a kind of a challenge.
So Satya, your quick views on how companies can create long-term value for their stakeholders while they are staying inside a high density tech city?
Of course, I'll try and keep this crisp. cost control or value creation are just, two sides of the same coin, I would say. Gone are the days where veterans were looking at just, rentals and upfront costs that were, impacting their cash flows. But right now, the focus is about, are you able to build that efficient office? More than building it efficient and sustainable, the most important factor is predictability of occupancy in that office. If that office that you've built is actually being put to good use, because you are able to predict what's the kind of occupancy that is possible inside that office. And in terms of decongestion that Sir was touching upon, I think more than anything else, of course, there is intent. Our policymakers and governance, while we don't see it in action, there is definite intent. I think Kannada government has already announced a GCC policy for moving into tier 2 cities. They get rebates on utility costs, they get rebates on initial rent, and all tax benefits have been passed on. But it is just the intent, right? It's about the action that needs to follow that. And I think corporates have started taking that social responsibility in that manner, because I was mighty impressed, because a veteran from an organization like Wipro talking about SAP moving their facility, SAP moving their facility towards the airport. It takes a lot of courage, right? Because you don't have your infrastructure around. You might not have the same kind of facilities, your employees. It takes a lot of guidance and change management with the employees, settling them up with residential setups around, making facilities available around. That courage, I think corporates have started showing. SAP has one example. I think Amazon has also started moving. So those kind of big players move. It's easier for the secondary organizations who are service providers for them to quickly move and adapt that micro market or that facility. I think that's how you can create long-term value creation, by ensuring the cost is being spent at the right places, and ensure the offices that we build are actually being put to use, rather than lying down as empty godowns waiting for employees to come back after COVID.
No, thanks, Satya. Rightly put, it takes a lot of courage to move your employees or headcount to a new location and grow there. So, Mr. Kannan, my last question to you is that what are the new emerging technologies which can help Bangalore to sustain its name or tag as a high density tech city?
Okay, so quickly there are three things, right? I mean, one is embracing AI and digital twin. Okay, when it comes to traffic, I know there are a lot of challenges, but what we could do to make things better, you cannot solve it completely, right? So I believe Bangalore has piloted AI-enabled digital simulators that simulates almost densely populated 3,000 kilometers of corridor, getting data from multiple sources, taking that inputs in making decisions that which signals or which area is going to be congested, and then also what should be the signal cycling time, what are the routing options, alternate routing options depending on that particular day. So this helps in managing traffic a little bit, though it cannot completely solve it. I do agree that. And second thing is also for power management, right? We have battery energy storage systems that we have to manage peak powers. We should know what are the peak times. There are Gen AI enabled services that would guide you in deciding, and based on that we should be able to use these energy systems to make sure the quality of grid is coming out of this storage system is good. And also there are a lot of new innovations happening in different areas, right? For elevators now there are ropeless elevators that are coming, right? One hoistway can have, before it used to have only one elevator per car. Now you could have multiple car per hoistway. They don't operate on ropes. You could go vertically upwards. There are elevators that can go even horizontally. TKE is working on that for last 8 years. So we have to see what are the latest technology trends that are emerging, how we could use it, how the government could incentivize the corporate and other sectors to use those technologies. So that is going to definitely help us in using technology and overcome the issues.
Thank you, Mr. Kannan. Thank you, everyone. Definitely, it was a great learning experience for me. I'm sure the audience would have a lot of takeaways from this discussion. And we should do a lot of such discussions outside also and elsewhere also. Thank you very much for your time to be here and share your heart out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
A huge round of applause. Thank you so much to the entire panel.